On a sunny day in Sandy, Utah, two Western Conference opponents look to turn it up after only 2 games in April. They ramp up the rhythm with 6 games in May apiece. Real Monarchs, fresh off of 2 straight shutout losses, while Timbers 2 have points in their last 3 straight. MLS Next Pro Match Week 9 is at America First Field. Hello, welcome, I'm Ryan Lee. Thank you for joining us. For Real Monarchs and Timbers 2, they had great starts to the season. Monarchs ended March with 4 straight wins between regulation and PKs, but injuries to the offense and the resulting imbalance of the roster created issue for Mark Lowry's group. They look to retreat from that as they look for reinforcements elsewhere. As for Timbers 2, they've been steady but not flashy, only scoring 5 goals in the first 6 matches, but have secured points in 5 of 6. They look to continue chipping their way up the table as we take a look at our lineups and what Timbers will be up against with Real Monarchs and Mark Lowry's starting 11. He's made 5 changes since the last time out versus Houston Dynamo. You have the one forward up top with Lineker Rodriguez, one of the few healthy options in the forward group. But Mark Lowry said he wants to look for some offensive opportunities from other people, and that inserts the opportunity for Dylan, Moisa, and Otley in the midfield, all of which have not really played as consistently with the second team, but they've gotten their respective reps in both the academy and the first team. Kirk Fleet remains in the pipe, but the defense in front of him has changed greatly. Rivera, Arias, and Calderon are all new additions, centering the defensive unit, which has been steady all season long with only 9 goals allowed. For Jack Cassidy and Timbers 2, they have not made any changes since the last time out versus North Texas, which was the last time since match week 1 that they have scored multiple goals in a game. Gage Guerra was part of the attack for Timbers 2, scoring in his MLS Next Pro 2026 debut in his second season in Next Pro. Noah Santos also within the group that scored against North Texas, and keep an eye out for Hunter Salt, the first teamer. He has yet to find a win across his first 3 starts with Timbers 2, but over 100 total matches played in his professional career. We are ready to get things started here at Sandy, Utah, where Timbers 2 will be right to left in the old green, left to right in the black and in the blue and red will be Real Monarchs, as the second teams come up to the first team stadium at America First Field in Sandy, Utah, where the respective first teams played here last night. RSL beat Portland Timbers 2-0 Saturday afternoon. Now we come to Sunday. Timbers 2 and Real Monarchs underway on a Sunday afternoon in Sandy, Utah. Hello and welcome. I'm Ryan Lee, along with the rest of our MLS Next Pro crew. We thank you for joining us here in a very sunny Sandy with 77 degrees, and a quick turnover off the draw from Monarchs will hit the hands of Hunter Salt. Hunter Salt, 99 starts in his pro career, even including his time back in the USL Championship with Indy 11, where he spent the last 2 seasons. He actually started his career with Portland Timbers 2 between the USL Championship and MLS Next Pro, and if you combine all that together, today is start number 99 for Hunter Salt. As we mentioned in the open, you have 5 new starters for Mark Lowry. A lot of those reinforcements coming in the midfield due to just the overall multitude of injuries that both they and the top side have dealt with throughout this recent stretch, which just seems to really hamper them and cause all sorts of imbalances in the roster. And that's for a team that maybe has not created the most chances across the board, but maybe one coming up for Monarchs, and you have a sliding Salt. Is that outside of the box? The referee gives no whistle. Aggressive pass back for Salt, forces it away as Enriquez, the doors were closing in on him, and that forces a Real Monarchs throw-in. Fernandez Kim starts this sequence for Portland as they're at the edge of the area. Sliding it by, Fernandez Kim couldn't get through. You had a sliding defender, Luis Rivera, which will draw the first corner of the match. Portland, a team that has all sorts of offensive issues. Not really one of the most attacking-minded teams in the entire Next Pro League. The third fewest goals across the board, with 5 total goals in their first 6 matches, which include only 3 in the run of play. 2 of those 5 goals came on PKs. They take the corner short. Continue the cycle, edge of the area. Wanted to go for the far post. Charles Ondo was shy. Mark Lowry talking about the last time out against Houston Dynamo that ended a 1-0 loss against Real Monarchs. Just how there were a lot of things after the hour mark where things got really mucky. They couldn't really get their feet moving, and it just felt like there was an overall lull in that final half an hour of the game. Just as a whole, top to bottom within the roster, how the pace, the energy, the urgency all kind of got slowed down. And because of that, they utilized the extra time of only having 2 games in April to really try to shift some things up, even though a lot of the issues that might have hampered them in that Houston game might have been a little bit out of their control. The usual adage is you can respond, and that is the way you can. So they really ramped things up in training, especially on a conditioning standpoint, a tactical standpoint, just trying to reinforce some of the overall concepts that they want to establish as the season goes along for Real Monarchs and over the entire identity of RSL. Held in, Eric Izoita, part of the 5 midfielder unit for Jack Cassidy. Turned over. Griffin Dillon escapes for Villa. Several first-teamers providing assistance for this Real Monarch squad, including a couple of reinforcements on the bench as well, who maybe not are your typical second-teamers. Fernandez Kim halts at center. Kim bobbles after the return from Guerra. Splits it out, near side. Noah Santos keeps it in play. Santos sends it across, blocked away. Calderon was in there. Izoita takes down his man. Fernandez Kim, blue jerseys all over. Moisa helps out to buy some room. Masales and Moisa working together on the far side to get away from the pressure from Portland. Nick Lund wanted to keep progressing. Lineker Rodriguez gets dropped. Riquelme has room. Wanted Riquelme back. Jump ball. And a collision from Solt and Riquelme. And Solt will claim it. Our officials today, they're in yellow. Christian Campo, Charles Rupert, James Ewer, and Nathan Boone round out our crew. And there goes a verdict made by the aforementioned Christian Campo for the first yellow card of the match. Pulls out Juan Arias. Yellow card in hand, but yet to raise it. And there it is. that will be the first teamer, Juan Arias, playing in his 75th match as a professional, largely in the First Division of Colombia. So first yellow card of the match, Juan Arias, one of the 5 defenders of this unit. And like we mentioned before, with the forward core depleted on both the RSL and on the Real Monarchs side, they're going to have to look for other places to maybe find some of that offensive production, or at the very least chance creation. And it's seemingly like Mark Lowry doing so in the midfield unit that has featured several young players make debuts with the first team. Chasing it down, Griffith juggles around Rivera. Griffith, edge of the box, but that comes across the mouth of goal as it took a glance along the way. Colin Griffith attempting the wide angle try. He was one-on-one with Rivera, and it looked like that was the last bit of contact before that exited. Colin Griffith, second rounder in this past year's Super Draft, coming from the Maryland Terrapins, where he was a second team All Big Ten last year, was Griffith. Into the middle, not there. Hustling is Bamford. Second attempt, back at the box, is headed into the hands of Max Kirkfleet. You had Nick Lund in the middle, but nothing could come. Max Kirkfleet, the second highest keeper drafted in the 2025 Super Draft, when he was drafted number 21 overall by RSL. He has been pretty much the #1 for Real Monarchs. When we spoke to Mark Lowry prior, it was largely his net for now, especially with how much he's evolved throughout the year, and even sitting as backup last year. He got into 12 prior matches to this year. He started 5 for 5 so far for Mark Lowry, but their defensive unit has to look out. Ondo continuing the cycle for Timbers. However, that feed not there. 25 matches have been played between Real Monarchs and Timbers 2, even dating back to their time in the USL. For Real Monarchs, this is actually their the most number of games they played against any opponent. 26 matches now against Timbers 2. However, for Timbers, that honor actually goes to Tacoma. 13 wins for Real Monarchs. 6 wins have gone to Timbers, and 6 have been ended level in what will be the first of 3 meetings between these two. They play again midway through June and to end July. Touchback, Moisa unable to link up. Fernandez Kim up the gut, behind the back of Guerra, still bouncing at the 18. And you have Utley scrambling back, drop down for a whistle. That's Jack Utley, one of the academy products. He's in his 2nd season playing with Real Monarchs and the RSL Academy program, but he has only played in a single game in Next Pro, which was in the first game of the April slate against Ventura County. Only his 2nd game in Next Pro is Utley. Long ball, doesn't get there. Griffith, top of the box, and scores! Colin Griffith, his first goal in Next Pro, and Timbers take the early 1-0 lead. Only 4 total goals in the run of play as Colin Griffith lets out a laser at the top of the box for the bottom corner. And for head coach Jack Cassidy, he was really talking about how a lot of the overall structure of the team starts with this 5 midfielder unit that establishes itself as kind of the base of what Timbers 2 are trying to operate out of, especially with the strenuous games they've had on the road as of late. Just talking about how they had some stagnation throughout April because they weren't able to get into a rhythm. They only had 2 games throughout the entire month, 4 days apart, and how when you have such a congested schedule but also a spacious one, it can really make the team disjointed at times, like they felt against North Texas, where they felt like they just finally got control and really established themselves in a way that they haven't really done all season long. But what an opportunity to get on the board first. It is Colin Griffith with his first Next Pro goal. Another try from deep is wide of Kirkfleet, but you love to see at least the mentality of Noah Santos to shoot first, because this team does not get a lot of opportunities and also does not get a lot of them to target accurately. Within the bottom third of the league in both shots attempted and on target. Bottom third of 30, if you want to be exact about it. Otley, across. Behind the back of Otley, following up is Villa, but he's cut off as Ondo strides by the sideline. Moisa, the roadblock. Here comes Jack Otley. Otley curves, doesn't shoot. A wall of white in the way. A quick plead for a penalty does not do anything as we cross the quarter hour and another Monarchs throw. Right by the corner flag, spun towards Salt. It's officially cataloged as a 13th minute goal. Colin Griffith with his first goal. Soya Jura 2 assists in Next Pro. 2026 campaign, 7 across the board. Congestion by Portland, making life difficult for Monarchs as a couple of the Timbers hit the deck. This portion of the match is brought to you by Zion's Bank, the official bank of Real Monarchs. And we talk about this attack for Mark Lowry, just overall how they've been really depleted in that case. They had a lot of hope and optimism for a lot of the guys that they started off the season with, but due to a combination of injuries and transactions, it's just kind of all been a little all over the place for Coach Lowry to manage. You have Loic Ajalala out, Omar Marquez, Owen Anderson were initially listed as out. As Guerra battles for the ball. Back for Portland. Couldn't link up to Griffith. Cycled back up top for Bamford. Guerra on the sideline. Keep in mind for Real Monarchs, you also have Owen Anderson and Luis Barea out for injury-related purposes. And then you had 2 transactions that sent Tyler Wolff on loan to Sacramento and Marco Zambrano on loan to the New England Revolution. Deep ball, hustling down, and can't be kept in. So just the overall combination of transactions and injuries, especially because he feels like this team at moments could really take a real boost from those one-moment opportunities, especially from just the overall positivity that it can ignite. At the end of the day, they just want to be able to control how they apply ourselves and trying to be more aggressive and forward thinking rather than playing timidly. They at the very least attempted that in the first 10 or so minutes, but ever since around the first corner, hasn't really been quite there at around the 9 or so minute mark. And then fouls offensively for Portland, also snuffing things out. Already 4 shots attempted by Timbers, none for Real Monarchs, yet at least. One in the box, clipped away. Alfonso Enriquez escapes for Izoita. Griffith again, scored the first goal. Fernandez Kim jars it free. Guerra, Izoita. What a lane, Santos can't keep it in. Too much juice on the feed for Noah Santos. Deflection falls right for Enriquez. Lets it fall for Griffith. He has Jura near the corner, who assisted on Griffith's opening goal. Portland, all things considered, even though they might not be the flashiest or most highlight-driven team across the board, one thing they do know is they can consistently find ways to create points game in and game out. 2 regulation wins, 3 games went to the shootout, including one of those gathering the extra point. Portland, the aggressor, Fernandez Kim gets dropped. Izoita pressuring. Kirkfleet didn't have options and just sent it towards the center stripe. Villa has a lane. By himself, splits it. Otley takes contact from Salt. Salt is down, he has the ball. You take another look at how things panned out between Salt and Arias, or Otley rather. Otley, a little bit of a desperation try to slide for the ball, and he just straight up misses it. Just all boot into the midsection of Salt, which I can't imagine feeling very good. 24 years of age from Anchorage, Alaska. How often do you hear that? 99 total starts between the USL and MLS Next Pro, but if you include the times that he's been subbed in, he's racked up over 100 matches, 102 to be exact. Has yet to find a win this year, but 40 games deep with Portland between the USL and Next Pro. That is the keeper, Salt, back on his feet after he gets some help from the medical crew. Both of these teams had quiet Aprils, only 2 games apiece for Timbers 2. They had a road game in LAFC and a home date in North Texas 4 days apart. Midway through April on the 15th and 19th. And actually came out with a possible 4 points of 6 within April. PK loss to North Texas and the full 3 at LAFC. And those 10 points are still good enough to be in the number 9 slot going into this afternoon. Ondo drives the lane as Santos watches it roll for another Portland throw. This portion of the match is presented by Intermountain Health, the power of we. .25 minutes in, it's a 1-0 game back at the 13th minute. Colin Griffith, the assist from Sawyer Jura, which is Griffith's first goal in MLS Next Pro for the rookie. The former Maryland Terrapin opening up the scoring for Timbers. And also, that was only the second time all year that they scored the opening goal of the game, the other one being that 1-0 win midway through April in LAFC. They secured that one 1-0. That's where we stand now, 25 minutes in. Guerra, heavy pressure, got it loose, up the gut, Fernandez Kim couldn't get it through. Guerra keeps it alive, widens, Griffith overhits it. This was a golden opportunity for Timbers too, considering that started by Guerra. Knocking the defender off of the ball allows Portland to get some ball movement right around that arch. But Griffith, perhaps one of those moments where maybe feeling a little overconfident and not precise enough. And we still have yet to see an attempt from Monarchs, and that was the 5th for Timbers. Deep try, Guerra will be kept by Kirkley. Real Monarchs, an offense that looked to get back after having a completely dry April. No goals scored across the 2 games they did play, but maybe a chance for both teams to get the ball rolling going into March, considering how both teams, the schedule actually panned out the exact same way. 4 games in March, 2 games in April, and a heavy-duty 6 games this week in May. Lineker Rodriguez deflects off him, creating pressure. Monarchs keep it in. It went off a defender for the first Monarchs corner. You have Antonio Riquelme, and you also have Jack Otley as the short option. It'll be Riquelme. Served in way too far, but Moisa keeps it in. Moisa from Asales, back across and just outside of the post. Had Salt beat, but couldn't secure a goal as Portland hang on after a potentially really dangerous sequence. Moisa keeps it away from Jura, and this was a nice attempt, but no one was able to get to the back post to at the very least maybe get a bounce off. It's one of those where it's kind of hard to tell, is that a shot or is that a crossing attempt? Either way, it's an unsuccessful goal, and same with that attempt by Gage Guerra because the flag went up. And this is a Monarchs team that have been so successful at scoring goals, especially when they started off the season in March. You have to go to the end of the month where they had a 3-2 win against Vancouver Whitecaps. Stolen from Santos. Aizoita across, back to center. Ondo. Had it right for Arias. It's been since the 60th minute of that March 22nd game against Real Monarchs. So that is a total of 210 total game minutes without a goal going into today. Portland want to start again, up the gut, but off of Calderon. Portland staying aggressive. Santos into the middle is just too high. Eyes went for Eric Aizoita, but couldn't connect as Santos had a nice curler to potentially beat him. Monarchs go quick. You can see a lot of that aggressive pressure from Portland. Working the way up the field. Luka Moisa near center. Had his 3 games and 3 starts to start the year with RSL. This is his first appearance with the second team since the last time out against Houston, so 2 straight. After starting off March with the first team, not just 3 appearances for RSL, but even 3 starts with them, was Moisa, the 18-year-old. Part of a 4 midfielder group this year and a 5-4-1 listed by Mark Lowry. Maybe one of those middle 9 could draw some offense in a slightly different way. call the whistle against Rodriguez. This portion of the match is presented by America First, the official credit union of Real Salt Lake. America First has game-changing solutions for every financial need. Join the winning team today at americafirst.com. Top of the box, flubbed as that one skips sideways. Cut off, Fernandez Kim striding through, took a clip. Referee does not give a whistle there. Second straight home game for Real Monarchs, but they played that last Dynamo game back at Zion's Bank Field. Coming here to the first team stadium at America First. Ruben Masales works from his left back spot. Nice slide made by Ondo to jar it free. Ruben Masales, the third round draftee from 2024, trying to work the issue for the former Duke Blue Devil. Guerra stops it. Guerra pressing, taken down, penalty! This is a sequence as Luis Rivera was the one who raised his hand asking for the penalty. It doesn't come as he had nicked Guerra inside of the box. And this is a potential opportunity for Monarchs to double down. The last timeout versus North Texas, one of two of Timbers' goals came on a penalty. Guerra scored in the realm of play. Santos took the PK. This time, Guerra looks like the one to take the dot. Already on a 1-0 lead. 10 minutes to go in the first half. They're 2 for 3 on penalties this year, are the Timbers. Guerra got a goal last time out. Guerra on Kirkfleet to double the lead, 10 minutes to go in the half. Stopped by Kirkfleet! What a save by Max Kirkfleet. In the 2 shootouts he's been in this year, he's allowed Real Monarchs to claim the extra point. Cool and calm on the dot, but still has a corner to face with Portland second. And we have a whistle as you have maybe a little too much aggression on the contact beforehand. As Christian Campo wants to have a word. So Colin Griffith still the only one with a goal after Kirkfleet denies the penalty from Guerra. Back post, too far for Ondo. pressure from Lineker Rodriguez, who is the lone forward in this 5-4-1 set for Mark Lowry. Leading the way for the team in goals and goal contributions, which all came in March because the entire Real Monarchs team didn't score a goal in April. Granted, only 2 games, but still. 1-0 loss last time out against Houston Dynamo Dos, and a 2-0 loss before that in Ventura County. Last goal they scored March 22nd at home versus Whitecaps 2. They have a 1-goal mountain to climb against Timbers 2. MLS Next Pro Match Week 9. Ryan Lee and the rest of our Next Pro crew, thank you for joining us here at America First Field in Sandy, Utah. The first team stadium for a pair of second team clubs whose respective first teams played here yesterday afternoon. The kickoff, just for reference, between Real Salt Lake and Portland Timbers and this match, 25 hours apart. 2 matinee games between Timbers and RSL, and this game between Timbers 2 and Real Monarchs. It was 2 goals from Real Salt Lake that took the edge for the Utahns. And you still only have the singular shot attempt credited to Monarchs. You have 3 shots on target by Portland on 8 attempts in this opening half. Just trying to find other sources of offensive production, whether it's the first team or the academy. The balance of the offense and the variety as a whole has changed because of all the knocks, dings, and transactions of the last month. Especially because they want to really pepper opponents and show that they can be an attacking-minded team. Rolling, Otley lost control. Ondo. Charles Ondo from Equatorial Guinea had a double team. Comes back to the way. Real Monarchs started the year with 4 consecutive wins, 2 in regulation, 2 in the PKs, but however since have followed up with a pair of losses. As for Portland, it's been kind of an up and down season for lack of a better term. 2 straight wins to start the year, 1 in PKs, 1 in regulation. They had a dismal performance versus Houston Dynamo where they lost 5-0, but have come back nicely with 3 straight with points. Twice in PKs, a win in regulation in LAFC, sandwiched between the singular point they received both against Ventura County and North Texas. What a feed! Otley! Way too high. Keep in mind, Otley only has 2 games worth of experience if you include today, so maybe a little bit of those, not rookie mistakes perhaps, but we'll call them young man plays for lack of a better term. Just trying to find a way to get the unit for Real Monarchs to have the intent on possession and the intensity to defend in the box, find those dangerous areas on the offensive end of the pitch, and not just make the right decisions but execute. Maybe take a second to wait for the extra pass rather than forcing a shot immediately, or even vice versa, taking the shot instead of passing it up. A fine tightrope balance of what they can and can't do and when to do it. It's all been a very delicate balance for Mark Lowry and Real Monarchs that kind of went off the rails, partially to personnel and partially due to just the overall structure of what they wanted to do and how much that's had to change out of necessity. But Real Monarchs have continuously found ways through and through. Similar problems last year, but still managed the 4th overall seed in the West. Lineker Rodriguez galloping through, maybe trying to speed things up. Villa waits. Otley couldn't touch because he was offside. And Real Monarchs started exceptionally on offense across those 4 combined wins. 12 goals scored, which is a 3.0 goals average in March. And somehow that just absolutely plummets to scoreless across April. Fernandez Kim corrals for Portland. Santos circles back on Otley. Otley knocks him down as we have an extra 3 minutes on the board. Still 1-0 between Portland and Real Monarchs. Only the goal from Griffith in the book. Sawyer Jura the assist. Between the 2nd round draftee in this last year's draft and the first teamer Sawyer Jura. As more whistles kill the steam right near center. And just a quick note for down the line, there are at least 4 players on the Real Monarchs bench that are not typically a part of this 2nd team roster, whether if it's academy products or first teamers being called down. But desperate times call for desperate measures. And Portland trying to make Real Monarchs desperate. Back inside. Didn't even keep it in play, but a nice attempt nonetheless to get to Gage Guerra. We're halfway through first half stoppage time. Jack Cassidy has really emphasized how much consistency can pay off in the long run for his group, especially when there have been points throughout the years where they didn't really command the game at very well at points. He wants to find these guys and give them the consistency and the reliability to advance upward, and become first team players. However, consistency is part of that equation. What a slip from Santos, he gets barreled into. He just got absolutely hammered by Griffin Dillon. What a shot by Griffin Dillon. Just comes in trying to reach, and the slip move by Santos just ate all of the shoulder of the 6'0", 175 Griffin Dillon. And Santos might have gotten the wind sucked out of him. But a very promising product for the Portland Timbers organization. Currently at 19 years of age, had career highs in both goals and goal contributions in last year's Next Pro season. And part of his overall efforts gave him his first team call-up and his first team debut in the Leagues Cup last year. And for seemingly obvious reasons, that's Griffin Dillon going into the book. Griffin Dillon is no slouch. He has experience in this league. 22 years of age, only playing in his second match of the season, both of them being starts, but 81 combined games between the USL Championship and Next Pro with Real Monarchs. Two on the ball. Izoita across, headed back in the middle, cleared by Calderon, and finished off by the Monarchs. That will be it for the opening half of play between Real Monarchs and Timbers 2. Coming up at the half, one of the best young stars in the MLS traces his soccer roots. We'll have that for you when we come back.
Boys hear sentiment, flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still staying ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best, can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next, just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now. Oh yes, man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
We welcome you back to Sandy, Utah, as Wednesday, Julian Hall scored the first goal in a wild match for Red Bull New York, helping Red Bull 2 win the Next Pro Cup a season ago. We take a look back at the remarkable journey of one of the top young stars in MLS.
Julian Hall, remember the name. It's that man again, Julian Hall. Goal, it goes in.
The many has
Has he broken through here? Mehmeti across, Hall! Swinging ball towards the back post, it goes! Opening goal for Red Bull New York, Julian Zakshevsky Hall!
Born in Manhattan, New York, Julian Hall found the game the same way a lot of kids in this city do.
I first kind of started playing soccer when I was around 4 years old. I would play a lot wherever I could, if it was a field near my apartment or wherever I could, basically. And I just remember, falling in love with the game and wanting to play as much as I can. There's a main place I would play. It's pretty popular in Manhattan. It's called Pier 40, and a lot of people go there. That's where I played with Manhattan Kickers. It's kind of where I really started to realize I really wanted to play soccer seriously and maybe make it professionally.
That love for the game turned into an opportunity, a move into one of the top academies in the country.
Julian came into our system at U14. I think he played about 3 or 4 games with the U14s. I was a U15 coach at the time, so I was observing those games, and you could see straight away he was a special talent. So he quickly got moved up an age group to play with the U15s that season. Made an instant impact with the older age groups.
The level changed quickly, and so did the expectations.
I was very excited to come in and show my ability, and I was playing with my age and I was playing a year up, and the intensity was a different level, I would say, from what I've ever played at that point in my life. So yeah, no, it's an amazing experience.
Chemueno scored off the bench against Seattle, and Julian Hall with the breakthrough! The Golden Boot leader rises to the occasion, and we've got an electric finish here in the U15 final.
He's one of those players that can get you up off your feet. Like, he's direct, he can take players on, he can score goals from inside the box, outside the box in really different ways. And, it would always amaze you how he would find goals in the game.
The next step brought a new set of challenges.
That was the biggest jump for me, going from academy to professional football. The intensity, the physicality, the football, it was all quicker than anything I had experienced before. And, I just thought I did a good job of staying level-headed and not being discouraged about little things.
Working to the midfield, now Gonzalez entering the box, across and a goal! Julian Hall puts the Red Bulls 2 on the board.
I was lucky to be coached by Ibrahim Sakaya, and Bradley Wright Phillips was there a lot of the time as well. They did a good job of helping me progress and helping me not get discouraged and keep going every single day and working hard. The coaching staff really mended me very well.
Like, he's always striving to try and get better at something within within games and training. And then, why he adapts well, he's a natural goal scorer.
For Julian, it was about staying level and keeping the work the same.
Jules.
When you go to a professional environment, if you're doing the most amount of work and you're clearly working harder than everyone else, it stands out to a lot of people, and that can be something that separates you from everyone else. If you're a hard worker, that could get you to a lot of places, and I think that's just something that established me when I first came into the first team.
That work and mentality has paid off with the fast start of the season.
We're really happy with the way that he's moving himself forward. He has taken the ideas and has really shown that he is picking things up. Obviously, there's the attacking part, his ability to find chances, his ability to take balls on the move, to dribble, to go by guys, run in the box. The part that goes with it is how much work he does for us against the wall, how much pressing, how much sprinting, how much chasing, how much work he does to really make the game difficult on the other team. And so we're really, really happy with the progress that he's made. We're gonna continue to push him.
As he continues to grow, so does the chemistry with his teammates around him.
I've known Julian for a very long time now. I see the way he works in training. I'm getting to know him more and more, obviously, as we play together on and off the field. And then when I step onto the field, I know where he's going to be on the field, what his positioning is like, where he wants the ball, left foot, right foot. And we're kind of growing that connection, which has been going in a really good way, and hopefully, to grow that connection even more.
Mehmeti, has he broken through here? Mehmeti across, Hall! 2-0!
I think it's just the trust with the coaching staff. Coach Michael, he's done a great job with us during preseason and putting trust in me to start the first couple games. It's a lot of credit to him for putting his belief in me. Obviously, I have to go out there and perform to the best of my ability, and thankfully I've got a couple goals so far. The goal is to keep progressing throughout the season.
Talent and work ethic have helped Julian's dreams come true faster than even he could have predicted.
I've always dreamt of becoming a professional soccer player, but I never really expected it to happen so fast, to be honest. You know, earlier that year, I was still just playing academy, and I was progressing well, but I never thought it would lead to signing a contract later that year. So it's kind of a lesson there just to be ready for anything, and anything can happen very, very quickly. You really just have to put your all into whatever you're doing, and things can happen. I think a big thing is just self-belief, because when I was playing in MLS Next, I was signing a contract later that season. I had no idea. I did not have a plan on signing that year. That was not in my plan at all. I think things like that can come from just you doing as much as you can, and things will just happen by itself, you know. As long as you're working hard and giving 100% every single day, you know, good things will happen. And, you know, thankfully things came to me that year, and, you know, you got to be grateful and you got to use it as much as you can to your abilities.
We return to Sandy, Utah, where Timbers 2 have a 1-0 lead on Real Monarchs. We are in the heat of match week 9 as we take a look around the entirety of the league. 4 games played last night, already having the game on Friday as well. In the context of the Western Conference, San Jose Earthquakes 2, call them what you want, but one thing is for sure, they are still one of the top dogs, as are Ventura County. But we take a look ahead onto how to begin match week 10, 3 games in the midweek. Ventura County and SKC, a dichotomous game between one of the top teams and one of the bottom teams in the Western Conference, at least in this set of the upcoming slate in the midweek for match week 10, as Royal Monarchs will go to LAFC next weekend, and Timbers will have a visit from Ventura County. Good news for Timbers too, they'll have a visit from a short-rested Ventura County FC squad. As we take a look back and forth from the week, let's take a look back at how we got to this point in our halftime highlights. I think got started pretty early in the first half, a lot of action, but not a whole lot of great scoring opportunities. You had this low driver, it got clipped for a corner, and then you had this ball. It was the attempted crossing feed for Real Monarchs that gets picked off by Jura, and that allows Griffith to slam in the first. And there's another turnover from Monarchs where they just couldn't escape their own end. It actually got started because Gage Guerra shoved down his defender. And this was probably the only real chance that Monarchs had the first half. It was the one and only by Ruben Masales, curls away from the fingertips of Salt, but couldn't get nestled into the post. And then you had this attempt searching for a streaking Izoita, but too high for him. And laterally, he gave the try to Jack Otley, but it was squandered once again. Nothing on target for Real Monarchs, but they'll have another set of 45 to potentially climb a 1-goal hole where Timbers lead. Second half from Sandy, Utah on the other end.
Can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next. Just wanna know what's next.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Wins it!
The unique energy of a Sunday night. Ideal for calm music, whispers, stargazing, reflection, and a relaxed environment. Sunday nights were made for this.
Second half coming up in Sandy between Real Monarchs and Portland Timbers 2, where Timbers have a 1-0 lead. Colin Griffith, his first goal in Next Pro, only his second start. It's actually 2 consecutive starts for Griffith, one of his first 2 starts in this league. He's going pro for Maryland, and then the assist from Sawyer Jura. Second assist, 5 years with the Timbers second team. But a lot of how we got to this point really staggering, especially when you look at the numerical breakdown of the overall efforts. Only 2 total shot attempts by Real Monarchs, but you have 8 attempts and 3 on target by Portland, which has allowed them to get into the lead that they're in right now, especially with Portland taking chances both inside and outside of the box. You also have that trio of corners that does allow Portland to maybe get some of those extra opportunities. But that's really been it for the first half. It was Jack Otley who got the lone attempt for Real Monarchs, and you really put all that into context in terms of what Mark Lowry and Jack Cassidy want to do. It's been a lot of the same thing, but different messaging. They both have really been pleased with the overall structure and how they've been able to lock down other teams respectively, considering that they do have 2 of the best defenses across the entire league. 9 goals allowed for Real Monarchs going into the day, 8 goals allowed going into today for Timbers, which are both within the top 10 in the league. But it was really the offensive side of it that was really a struggle for both teams, considering that they're both within the bottom third in that department, or at least in Real Monarchs' case, the bottom half, just outside of the bottom third, at 12th and 11th between 30 teams in terms of the shots on target and shot metrics and how they're able to create those opportunities. And for both teams, it's just finding ways to just get a new gear, a new wrinkle, maybe a curveball to change things up. Both coaches have mentioned consistency being a big issue. For Portland, it's consistency of performance. For Real Monarchs, it's consistency of personnel and health. We get ready for the second half between Real Monarchs and Timbers 2. Timbers, second half, left to right, all green in the red and blue. Going right to left will be Real Monarchs, as we already have a change coming up at the halftime break. It's the entrance of Felix Evald of Real Monarchs. Monarchs already in the Timbers end, but they get roadblocked by White. So it is Luis Rivera who is actually the one who gave up that penalty shot attempt to Gage Guerra with about 10 minutes to go in the first half. He's the one that will be taking a seat on the bench. But also on a tactical standpoint, Luis Rivera is one of 3 center backs in a 5-back system for Mark Lowry, and you replace him with a guy like Felix Evold, who's a little more of in the midfield slot. Griffith centers. Guerra goes down. Follow-up try gets blocked. Riquelme bodies off his man. It's a foot race won by Lineker Rodriguez. Rodriguez 2-on-2. Help from Otley. Rodriguez a try. Fans out. Settles it down. Evold fires off of Salt. Loose ball is over. This is a great opportunity for Monarchs. Easily the best chance of the game. Wait for Evold to get between the 2 defenders. It was too hot for Salt to handle. And then the follow-up is over, but that is something that has been absolutely missing from Monarchs. They didn't get a single shot on target the entire first half. And already off the rip, Felix Evold making his contributions felt, playing all 7 games to this point of the year, still yet to log a single goal contribution. However, he has prior pro experience in the youth ranks in Berlin, his native country of Germany. Spent 3 years in the youth system there. And then had a pretty tumultuous college career. For Felix Evold, starting off his time in the NCAA in 2022 with Mississippi College in the Division II ranks, before transferring to Division I Temple and going even higher up the D1 ladder, spending his last 2 years with the West Virginia Mountaineers. Takedown just on the north side of center. Moisa can't corral. Griffith tangle up with Masales. Lost Masales. Here's Griffith. Open lane on a goal. Side of the goal. Waits. Blocked off. Gio Villa got in the mix, but it remains with Portland. Griffith has been sniffing at goal all game long. Leads Timbers with 4 shots attempted already in the game out of 10. He is attempting to put this team on his back as Griffin settles it down off the toss. Jura centers and caught by Kirkley. Lunging to keep in where the Monarchs coughed up Fernandez Kim. Too weak for Izoita. Quick spin. Riquelme has options, but led Otley too far, and that gave way for Salt to slow it down. Only the one substitution made by Mark Lowry at the half. Over the head of Fernandez Kim, foot race. As it slides back to Kirkley from Calderon. Center circle, Rodriguez has Moisa. Moisa in 40 games in next pro across 4 seasons. Fans it out. Giovia near side. Takedown away from the box. Play on, says the official, with the Monarchs in possession. But they are more or less down a man. Full sprint. Turned around. Santos lost it. Masales takes over. Masales from deep. Traditionally speaking, you have to hit those a little harder when you're so far out, but maybe too much so. Potentially trying to overcompensate for the distance by going harder, but not precise enough. Granted. Typically a higher degree of difficulty shot, just generally speaking. But also, Monarchs didn't attempt a single shot outside of the box in the first half. So maybe it could be part of the messaging of Mark Lowry at the halftime break. Just take the chances when you see them. Could be one of those circumstances of no chance is a bad chance. But with Monarchs only can claim 2 shots attempted in the first half, you just need to find anything to shake things up, I suppose. Now Monarchs have made their way up to 3 shots attempted in the second half, including the first on target after only 2 attempts in the first half. Moisa out of range for Raquelme. Ondo. Santos was a mile offside. This portion of the match is brought to you by Zion's Bank, the official bank of Real Monarchs. Villa. With the changeup has been more on this left side. He started off on the right. Villa, seam ball. Moisa keeps it in play. Can't link up as Jura intervenes, but will gift Monarchs with possession on a throw. Can't find the middle as Rodriguez down to ground. Guerra starts the attack for Timbers. Sliding through as Dylan is in the way, and it does enough to get the ball free. Mark Lowry more or less shifting to a back 3, it seems like, from a 5-defender set to start the game. As that was a nice read made by Nick Lund with 2 Monarchs attackers in the mix. Santos, top of the box, and scores! Oh my word! Santos! What a banger to get goals in 3 straight! And Timbers lead by 2. This is an exceptional goal from Noah Santos. Slides past his defender, all the way top right corner with speed, with 10 minutes into the half. What a way to get your 10th goal in Next Pro across 4 seasons for the Academy product, Noah Santos, which includes goals in 3 straight. He is well on pace to break his career high of 4 goals that he achieved a year ago. And now Monarchs' climb is double. For Portland, scoring goals has been one of their big Achilles heels all season long. Had the 3rd fewest goals scored across the entire league. And part of that is because they just weren't able to find anything after week 1. They won 2-1 against San Jose and didn't score any goals, any games with multiple goals afterward. In fact, they only had 1 goal combined in 4 games following week 1. And then last time out against North Texas, they get 2 goals to tie that game 2-2, and they get 2 again. It's one thing to win games by 1-0 or take the points 0-0 and advance in PKs. It's another when the form just hasn't been there and you find it eventually. That seems to be the case for Portland, but the deep try is away from Jack Otley and right to Salt. What a strike from Noah Santos. 3 shots attempted, the lone on target. And he most certainly made it count. Otley on a breakaway. Otley can't get by Salt. This was that last little breakaway attempt by Jack Otley. He did have Lund hustling back, but also for Salt, you saw that it was kind of tucked in between his legs. He was trying to plier the ball between the wickets of the 5-hole, but just couldn't get it through. And maybe, perhaps with a little extra pace, that could have just beaten Salt's clean 5-hole, but alas, we sit at the 60th minute. Real Monarchs still shut out, 2 goals deep for Timbers 2. Santos from Guerra and Izoita. Villa centers, Riquelme dislodged. That's 2 goals with 5 different players with goal contributions for Timbers. Guerra got the assist on the last goal, the primary assist. Santos, who scored it, wants another, but into the hands of Max Kirkleet, the former Husky from UConn, now playing in Utah. Final half an hour, and both coaches have noted that this was usually kind of a turning point in various different ways. In the 1-0 game versus Houston, this is where Mark Lowry said the team just got into a bit of a lull. Whether if it was conditioning or weather or what have you, something just didn't really add up, and there was just really something missing the entire time. Just going flat, losing energy, losing the pressure that allowed them to be so successful defensively. And for the North Texas Portland game last time out, Jack Cassidy noted that it was the hour mark where things really went back and forth, just continuous chances in transition between them and North Texas. Just wanting to let these guys have the freedom to make mistakes and figure out the right answers instead of gifting it to the young players, letting them learn from that because of how that can allow them to really develop and take greater leaps and bounds in the long run. And being able to do that game in and game out for a full 90 at a consistent pace, Jack Cassidy said, is what can allow these guys to not only improve their game at an individual level, but you do that to enough individuals, it applies to the whole team. Mark Lowry just trying to ramp up the intensity for a little bit, not letting things fizzle out as the game ended, even though he said their game versus Houston had a wonderful start. Trying to force it towards Villa, but went right to Jura. Griffith centers. Fernandez Kim dropped by Moisa for a foul. Another whistle made by our officiating crew. All yellow today. Christian Campo, Charles Rupert, James Ewer, and Nathan Boone are the ones directing traffic for today. The last time these two played against each other was August 3rd of 2025. It was a 2-1 win favoring Real Monarchs. Monarchs, by the way, they have wins in the last 6 straight against Timbers 2, which include 4 in regulation. That string started with 2 wins in PKs. What a feed. Lineker Rodriguez tries to control. Keeps it in bounds. Villa near side. Moisa takes a look, leads the way for Villa, and Jura will let it go out of play.
Substitution for the Monarchs. In the 64th minute of the match, number 61, Lisa Amparo, and number 66, Cameron Estella.
So Juan Arias will go to the bench. He does have a yellow card also. And then you have you also have Izzy Amparo and Cameron Estala who enter. Juan Arias and Griffin Dillon will be the ones to sit. A very like-for-like transaction between a couple of center backs and a couple of central midfielders. For Estala, he is part of the academy program, 18 years of age. This is his second game in Next Pro. Set to be a Michigan Wolverine in the fall of 2026 semester. And Izzy Amparo, 4 years with Real Monarchs at 19 years of age. Reliable player for Mark Lowry. Has started in 4 of 7. You also want to get that yellow card off of the field for Juan Arias. Top of the box, gets blocked. Amparo wanted to fight for it, but it gets swept to the bench, to the bleachers for Real Monarchs. So a chance to switch things up offensively for Timbers 2. It is a 66th minute sub as Gage Guerra will at least have an assist going into the bench. That's goal contributions and back-to-back for Gage Guerra, and that allows Daniel Cervantes to take his place. Cervantes, the 22-year-old Mexican forward, he is playing in his 7th game of the year across for Timbers, as that goes off of the elbow of Calderon. Monarchs trying to pressure higher up the field, forced the hand of Timbers. Overhead ball goes for Fernandez-Kim, and that forces the sweep out by Kirkfleet. Also, a side note on Daniel Cervantes, this is his 100th match across any pro level between his time in Next Pro and even prior in his time in Mexico, his native country. Two-time consecutive 9+ goal scorer is Cervantes as he starts centering, and that's not what you want to see with seemingly Colin Griffith limping. So that's Colin Griffith, the 21-year-old Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania native. As mentioned before, his first goal in Next Pro. And this is the moment where he goes down, just goes down on a knee. Just keep in mind that it is, after all, a 76-degree day here in Sandy without any real major cloud coverage. So perhaps in the long run, that would be it could be a multitude of things. But also, just for the sake of precaution, Jack Cassidy will make a change. So it's Daniel Nunez, 17-year-old Bakersfield, California native from Portland's Academy program. Has gotten called up a couple of times, both between the Mexican U17 squad and even Portland's first team. Coming up for the goal scorer, Griffith. Chasing it down, Riquelme, but he touches it out of play. So quick succession. You have 4 total subs between the two teams, 5 minutes apart. Amparo and Estella for Monarchs, replacing Griffin Dillon and Juan Arias. And then within the ensuing 5 minutes, you have Daniel Cervantes and Daniel Nunez in for Colin Griffith and Gage Guerra making their exit. You're going to want a guy like Griffith long term, especially if he can maybe continue escalating his production. More attention comes. Lucas Fernandez-Kim, a late draftee of the Timbers. Number 75 overall was Fernandez-Kim, and he gets his legs tangled up with Amparo. As Fernandez-Kim gets some assistance, he does that coming off of back-to-back starts, his first 2 starts, only 3 matches deep into his Next Pro career. This portion of the match is presented by Intermountain Health, the power of we. 20 minutes remain here at Sandy. Real Monarchs down on Timbers 2 by 2. As Portland has held on. Both of these teams want to get the ball rolling for what is going to be a very congested May slate. Six games across the month of May for both teams. We just saw Coach Cassidy pull out Griffith due to a potential injury precaution, I wouldn't put it past him to maybe do the same thing for Fernandez Kim, who has started the last couple of matches for Timbers. And seemingly so with Cole Crothers on deck. You also have Van Parker standing by the fourth official, Nathan Boone. But whether or not this is the spot for him is still TBD. And now official. So Gio Villa is the one that will be sent to the bench. Van Parker will take his spot. 17-year-old Canadian, has been a part of the Canadian U17 squad. That is wing defender for a forward. So expect Parker to make his way up the field, seemingly more of like a 3-4-3 compared to the 5-man back he had earlier. Sent across, not there. He had the head up and around from Evald as that goes back to Timbers. Captain as Bamford cycles around, allowing Lund to retreat.
And it wasn't just him. He was good, but his musicians were just out of this world. Like their harpist picked up his harp and was jamming on the harp. Well, yeah.
Crothers, a rookie at Next Pro, only 2 matches deep. He was actually formerly a member of Portland's academy team before he went to the NCAA to play with Rutgers. And he didn't actually make a Next Pro debut until the beginning, or rather the tail end of March when they played Ventura County. And Van Parker comes in, like we mentioned, youth international for Canada. This is his 3rd match of the season. But Mark Lowry trying to bring some attacking help, deviating from the 5-back unit that he started with. And has since subbed on 2 attackers for 2 of those defenders. As you also have a yellow card given to Cervantes. Bit of a miss hit, loose balls. Salt has to be aggressive, as you had Otley and Riquelme trying to make a move as Moisa gets dropped. And you even have Jack Otley getting some stretching done too. It's not overly hot here in Sandy, but when you mix in elevation, hydration perhaps, typically it has to be in the upper echelon, like 80, 85 plus to get the hydro breaks within Next Pro at the very least, based on the recent trends of the last couple of summers. But the temps are actually reaching that point. They're close to it. It's been 77 degrees pretty consistently throughout. It's warm enough to maybe cause some damage. But it's part of the young pro's game, learning how to manage the cramping, the health, the heat. Especially for Real Monarchs, who have been on quite a bit of a lull. They haven't scored for 210 game minutes going into today. Shutout in 2 straight. They scored in the 60th in the last game with goals. That was a 3-2 win against Vancouver. And they want to start off their 6-game slate in April on a positive note, but that has all gone to Portland, who have points in 5 of 6, going into today with only 5 goals in 6 games. But they got 2 today, both in the run of play, both on the edge of the area. Noah Santos in the 55th minute. Colin Griffith, his first Next Pro goal back in the 13th. Especially for Jack Cassidy, just maybe letting out some of the frustration that he had and this Timbers group had for these long breaks. Coach Cassidy noted that the long hiatus breaks up the rhythm that they were kind of building throughout the season to that point, especially on the run that they've been on with points in 3 straight. Calderon has to hustle back as Cervantes is still pressuring. Monarchs have at the very least recouped points in 2 of their games when trailing. Those were the 2 games that went to PKs. Both of those were in March. 2-2 versus North Texas, 2-2 versus LAFC. At least in the LAFC match, they had the stipulation of LAFC committing a red card. Portland still 11 strong. Riquelme into the area, but too far ahead. Looking for Van Parker. This portion of the match is presented by America First, the official credit union of Real Salt Lake. America First has game-changing solutions for every financial need. So join the winning team today at americafirst.com. Referees giving warning. He's seen something and he's seen enough of it. Final 10 minutes of regulation. However, the good news for Real Monarchs is they could potentially hang tight on defense. They have yet to allow more than 2 goals this year, but when they haven't scored a goal all month, they can really hamper the confidence of a potential comeback. It could potentially be the first Portland win since September of 2023. Calme chasing, crosses the end line. Also, within this head-to-head series, Portland has never beaten Real Monarchs in Utah, but maybe a chance to spring up. Utley to goal for assault. 25, now 26 games in this head-to-head between Real Monarchs and Timbers 2. Every time that Timbers secured a win, that was in Oregon. At the very least, in the next pro era, there was one 2-1 win back when they were still in the championship in 2020. But that's it. For the first time, potentially since September 2020, Portland could win in Utah. Also trying to snap Real Monarchs' 6-game winning run against Portland, which includes 10 of the last 11. Every second fleeting for Real Monarchs. And you have to even credit Portland's defense. They've held on to a top 10 mark like they've had all year long. But it is Real Monarchs when you do the same. Center of the area, punched out by a head. Scrambling back towards center, Jura. Portland have peppered it on with a dozen shots attempted to this point of the match. Real Monarchs have managed to rack up 7 of them, but 5 of those 7 came in the second half, including all their 3 shots on target. If they're able to even remotely replicate that production in the first half, this could be a much different game, but alas, here we are. At the 18, Riquelme grappled. And that was Jura who got all handsy with Riquelme, and Jura will eat up the yellow card. Jura will leave he'll leave with that one, especially if Riquelme was able to successfully make the transition work. The pass is blocked, Cervantes the pick. Sends it deep for center. Can't get past Kirkfleet. Stumbling, recovering, firing, scoring. Persistence from Portland, and they bring their lead to 3 in the final 5 minutes. This was a deep ball. This looks like it's Cole Crothers who gets around a sliding Kirkfleet, trying to be aggressive on the defense and make it 2. 2 goals that open next pro accounts. 1 for Griffith, 1 for Crothers. And Chase Duke will enter the match for Mark Lowry.
And yellow card caution, number 16, Sawyer Jura.
So it's Crothers with a goal. Chase Duke will come in. Chase Duke will replace Luka Moisa. And for Crothers, the feed came from Santos. Edge of the area. Couldn't be kept in by Amparo. Masala's across. Ondo slants it across as that comes out of play from Cervantes. Recovered, top of the area, sliding by, interrupted. That's Chase Duke. Or pardon, that's Astala, looking for Duke. Duke on the strip, following up, Parker, top of the area, still Parker, looking for an outlet, he'll accept the corner. Which is Monarchs' first corner since the first half. And they've only managed 2 in this game. 1 per half. Swung in at the 6. Parker, second try is over. And that about sums up Real Monarchs' night. It was Parker and Evold, but neither could connect. A lot of opportunities. Some pretty decent ones at that also. But something is just missing to get it within the posts. Everything has gone beyond the frame. But not really enough within it, and not enough early on to really create any sort of consistent pressure. And that kind of allowed Portland to get into their game pretty early. We're in the 90th minute. As mentioned before, it's a 6-game month for both teams. Santos is out. Leading the way, Nunez stumbles. Gets it outside. Santos is down. Wide of Duke. For Monarchs, they go on the road before playing back-to-back at home. They travel to LAFC once again. The last time they played LAFC was at 2-2 PK shootout. And after a trip to LA, they have back-to-back at home between San Jose and Colorado, which could actually be a much-needed opportunity for Real Monarchs. Half a dozen extra minutes. There is a free kick here coming and a delayed yellow card. The yellow card came out at the end of that sequence. That's Izzy Amparo who gets... Oh, pardon, Nicholas Lund.
Yellow card. Timbers number 61, Nicholas Lund.
Into the area, back post. No one on the receiving end as Jura watches it go above him. It could be a chance for Monarchs to, at the very least, gain a little bit of confidence with an LAFC team who have actually had some defensive struggles, being one of the teams that allow the most goals in the league. So maybe with a relatively spotty defense like LAFC, who allowed the third most goals in the league, could be a chance to allow Real Monarchs to rebound offensively. Offensive foul against Parker. Before a 2-game home stretch between San Jose Earthquakes 2, and then you have the Rapids, who are one of the few teams in Next Pro who have yet to find a win in regulation. They're the only team in all of Next Pro, the Rapids, to not find a win, period. Shootout or regulation. And that is going to be on the 20th of this month. So maybe a couple of games for Real Monarchs to get back into the swing of things, get back to that consistent form where they've been so well. As for Portland, Ventura County is on the docket, back-to-back at Providence Park. Ventura County and Minnesota, the next two opponents, before traveling away to San Jose. Far side for Monarchs, centering feed, blocked off before Rodriguez could retrieve. We're through 3. Portland leads by 3. And that's a tough task for Timbers 2, who after today could jump into the top 8. A spot that Monarchs held on to before the week started. And that is Daniel Cervantes, full steam ahead. Jura follows, trying to stay on side. It's Charles Ondo. Wanted to give it back to Cervantes, not there. But that is a tough 2-week stretch for Portland against the number 3 and 4 teams in the conference in the next 2 weeks before playing San Jose, who are 5th in the conference. Rodriguez off of a body, 4 minutes deep of 6. Rodriguez again, holds, doesn't get there. Portland get it out again. So officially, not adding in the stoppage time minutes, Real Monarchs have gone scoreless in 200 minutes. You have 3 full games and the final 30 minutes of the Vancouver game. Injuries, inconsistencies, both in health and form for Mark Lowry's group. A group that has traditionally been very strong offensively throughout his entire tenure there. Since 2024, it's been a traditionally great offensive group, but just in a bit of a downswing that they just can't get out of. Just trying to find any sort of inspiration on the offensive side, as Rodriguez got it in the mix. Goes for a goal kick as we are in the 6th minute of 6. Griffith, Santos, Crothers, the 3 goal scorers. Santos, credit with an assist on the Crothers goal. Gira, Izoita, and Jura all also with helpers. It was Santos and Cervantes who got credit with the assists. This will drop Monarchs to sub 500 for the first time all year. For Portland, they continue to find ways to rack up points. This would be points in 6 of 7 to open the season. Served across for Calme, settles, blocked away. And that will be it. Portland shut things down in Utah as they win 3-0 to take all 3 points. Our man of the match is presented by Adidas, and it goes to not just a man who's contributed, but who did so in style, as Noah Santos gets his third goal in 3 straight games, added on an assist to the game winner for Cervantes, and what a screamer from Santos to open up the scoring. But then Santos was able to pick out Crothers on a breakaway, who did the rest himself. And sometimes just being able to identify those plays and execute can be the key. And that was it for Noah Santos and a Timber side that led and won by the end of the day 3-0. Don't forget to watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, my name is Ryan Lee. Thank you so much for joining us. Timbers 2 win by 3. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your night.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.